Okay, let's talk about the books I read in November, which were very many, so this should be quick. So I started out the month listening to His and Hers by Alice Feeney, which actually was my first Alice Feeney book. I've never read anything by her, and I was super excited to try her out. His and Hers is about a couple who isn't together anymore. The guy is a detective and the girl is a newsreader, and there's a murder in their hometown, so the girl comes back because she's going to be covering the case, and the guy is the head detective on the case. So we kind of see like what happened in their past to push them apart, and we see the future happening where there's a murder and they're trying to figure out what happened. I wasn't bored at all during this audiobook, which is really good, and I liked the plot and the story and the characters and everything. The only thing about this is that it's very confusing with how they throw suspicion onto things and people. Whenever you think you're like one step closer to figuring out the truth, like something else happens and you're like pushed back a million steps and you're just confused the whole time. And I did really enjoy this audiobook. I gave it 3 stars, mostly because I guessed the ending, which never happens to me. And after I read the reviews, this one is actually one that many people don't guess, so I felt pretty proud of myself. I just went with my gut and didn't really have a reason or know why or how, but it ended up being right somehow. I don't even know. But it was still exciting to like see that play out. It didn't really take away from the plot twists or anything because I didn't know how or even if I was right. So I still really enjoyed it even though I kind of guessed it. And yeah, I still overall really enjoyed it and I gave it 3 stars. The second book I finished in November was Iron Flame, and this book also took me the whole month of November to read. So she's thick, and I don't read fantasy. Fourth Wing was my first fantasy ever. This is my second, I guess, and this is like the biggest book I've ever read. So I guess it makes sense that it took me the whole month. So this TikTok was saying that Iron Flame has a higher word count than this other book that she like compared it to, and it was like this thick, and Iron Flame was only this thick, but this one's longer than this one. And so I was like, oh, okay, that's why it's taking me forever, because it's even longer than I thought. So it did take me a month to read, but I did like it. I gave it 4 stars. Unfortunately, I didn't love it, and I didn't like it as much as Iron Flame. I mean, Fourth Wing, but it was still really good. And I kind of see it as like 2 books, which like helps me with my reading, because I was like, oh, sometimes it's kind of slow, but it's really setting up for everything else. It's also the second in a series, so that makes sense that some of it might be a little bit slower. But I wasn't ever bored. Like, I still wanted to read it. I was just like waiting the whole time for like something, you know? But I did like it, and the only thing that kind of annoyed me was the romance a little bit with like the arguing and the fighting, but that's it. Characters and the dragons and everything, and it was very good. And now I'm just like, I need book 3, like I need it, and we don't have a release date yet, so that's been messing with me mentally. Also, if you want to see my reaction to like reading the last 2 chapters in this book, go watch my vlog. It's my finishing school vlog, and you'll see my live reaction to finishing this book, because it's pretty funny. After that, literally on the last day of November, I finished November 9, and I listened to this as an audiobook as well. And I basically started it because November 9, it made sense. And I've actually read this before, back in like 2020, I think, and oh my goodness. Back then, I rated it 5 stars because it's like one of the first books I read when I got back into reading. Like, Colleen Hoover was literally the only person I read back then, so it makes sense, I guess. But now, listening to it again, it's okay. Why are you grumpy? Now, listening to it again, I was like, I'm concerned for my past self. Ben is actually scary and creepy and weird, and he has so many red flags. To be fair, I never really liked Ben, and it wasn't like he was like my favorite book boyfriend or anything, but like listening to this again, I was like, oh my gosh, like there's so many red flags, and I just don't really like their romance. But I do like the plot and the storyline. It's very interesting and entertaining, and of course the plot twist is just so dramatic, but it was like fine as an audiobook. It was fine, but I did have to skip a lot of parts because it's cringy, and I'm not going to listen to those scenes, you know. And also, if you listen to it on Libby like I did, you have to speed it up because the girl's voice, like, she's great. It's not like her voice, but she talks so slow that I had to speed it up immediately. And at the end, I was listening to it on 2 times speed. Number 1, to like try to finish it, but also I just had to listen to it faster anyways because I was like, this is so slow. Maybe it's because I wasn't really enjoying the book, But yeah, that's just a little helpful tip for you. Now we have to talk about my DNF. It's not like a DNF permanently, it's just a DNF for now. But I did start this in October and still haven't finished it and won't be finishing it this year. But that's Layla. I started in October for the spooky vibes, and I'm actually 65% into this, so I know I'll probably pick it up and just finish it soon. I might listen to it as an audiobook just to like get it over with, honestly, but I'm just not doing that right now, so I'm gonna call it a DNF because I've been working on this for 2 months and I just haven't picked it up in a long time. It's definitely creepy and it's a little bit scary, and I also hate the man, so I don't really know what I'm rooting for at this point. I do really want to know what happens, so I will finish at one point, but I don't really care that much about the characters. I'm interested to know what happens, but I'm also like, I could just listen to it on 2 times speed and like figure that out really quickly. So I don't know if I really recommend this one. I can't say because I haven't finished it, but yeah, so this is my DNF for now. Okay, those are all the books I read in October. Like I said, not many because Iron Flame took me the whole month to read, and I only got to finish 3 books, but that's okay. It was also a busy month with like school and work and holidays, all that stuff, so sometimes we're just gonna read less than we want, but it's okay. Okay, now for my December TBR. I have Christmas books on my December TBR, but I don't want to tell you them because they're gonna be in their own video, and I want them to be a surprise. So just know that there are some Christmas books because duh, it's Christmas. As for the rest of my TBR, I don't have many books because I'm starting a very anticipated and exciting fantasy series. I'm sure you can guess. We're starting ACOTAR this month. I'm so excited. I've been waiting for this. I've specifically waited for December because that's when I get done with college and I'll have a break, but I'm also going to be done completely. I'll actually have time to read like a big series, hopefully. And I'm really hoping to read at least the first 2. Hoping to read the first 2 this month. And I'm also going to be doing a whole entire reading vlog of me reading ACOTAR. And it will probably include spoilers because everybody else has pretty much already read it. Look forward to that. But yeah, I'm super excited to start this series. I've heard so many good things. And as someone who doesn't really read fantasy, I've heard that it's good to start out with ACOTAR because it has romance as well. So yeah, I'm excited to start this series and look out for my ACOTAR reading vlog, hopefully by the beginning, somewhere in the beginning of January. That's gonna be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and look out for some other book videos and vlogs coming soon. Bye!